Twins are looking to take the series against the Marlins tonight, and Kalshi can take your viewing experience to the next level. By using code FANARCHBASEBALL, you can get $10 when you trade 10. So shout out to Kalshi for sponsoring today's episode. But what is going on, Twins fans? And welcome back to another episode of Twins Latest. I'm Sam Calder. Hope you are all doing well. We've got quite a bit to talk about today. But before we get to anything, we are on the road to 500 subscribers. So if you are not already subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? But please be sure to hit that button for daily Twins content. Drop a question for me in the comments to be featured in our next mailbag segment. And if you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please do me a huge favor and drop a 5-star review. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the episode. And as always, we will kick we will kick things off by taking a look at last night's matchup, the series opener at Target Field between the Twins and the Marlins, and boy, did we get a treat. The Twins won 3-0, and Bailey Ober had a Maddox, which, for anyone unaware, is a complete game shutout with less than 100 pitches thrown. Absolute dominance from Bailey Ober. Just 2 base runners allowed all night for the 6'9" righty, 7 strikeouts and 14 whiffs on 89 pitches. 9 of those whiffs came on his changeup. I was optimistic about Ober coming into last night's game, but I certainly did not see this coming. His first career complete game shutout and the first by a Twin since Joe Ryan did it on June 22nd, 2023. Just incredible stuff from Bailey Ober. The offense did not show up in a big way, but they didn't need to. All 3 of their runs came in the 5th inning, and all of which came with 2 outs. They got things started with a Byron Buxton walk. Trevor Larnach then singled to put runners on the corners. Larnach then, and I believe this was intentional, got about 3/4 of the way to second before running back, getting himself in a pickle and allowing Buxton to score on the play. So if that was intentional, really, really great stuff on the base paths. And in the same at bat, Ryan Jeffers clobbered his 6th homer of the year, 111 miles an hour off the bat, 407 feet to left field. One of the hardest hit balls by a Twins hitter this season at any level of the organization. Larnach and Jeffers both had multiple walks as well, so it was not a pretty night at the plate by any means. But it's a team game, and when you've got a dominant pitching performance like that, it makes things a heck of a lot easier. The Twins move to 19-23 on the season, and they'll look to take the series against the Marlins tonight. And we'll talk more about that game here in a few minutes. But shifting gears from last night's game, it feels like there has been a very noticeable shift in the narrative around 23-year-old Twins pitching prospect Kendry Rojas. The 6'2" left-hander has the tools to be a meaningful contributor in the Twins starting rotation, but there is most certainly some fine-tuning that is going to need to come first. Before being acquired from Toronto at last year's trade deadline, Rojas was carving up minor league hitters at an absurd level. I mean, it was like he was a butcher in a meat shop, the amount of carving that was going on. Across 31 2/3 innings at single-A and double-A collectively, he allowed 8 earned runs with a ridiculous 58 strikeouts to just 5 walks, which is an 11.6 strikeout-to-walk ratio and a walk rate of just over 4%. He looked like a man amongst boys and very quickly became one of the Blue Jays' top pitching prospects, which is saying something because they've got a few. However, after a promotion to AAA and a move south of the Canadian border, Rojas very much struggled in St. Paul. In 27 1/3 innings with the Saints last year, his ERA rose to 6.59 and his walk rate climbed up to 16%. For the first time in his professional career, there were very legitimate command concerns with Kendry Rojas. But again, there were a lot of moving parts, so some sharper command to begin 2026 would have put a lot of those concerns to bed. While the walk number in the minors has improved thus far, Rojas got the chance to make his major league debut early in the season, and perhaps earlier than the Twins would have liked, because there were injuries to guys like Mick Abel and now Taj Bradley, along with spotty bullpen play, that have opened doors for him to get early opportunities through his first 5 1/3 innings with the Twins, which of course is an extremely small sample size. Rojas has walked 6 hitters and owns a frightening 24% walk rate. To make matters worse, hitters are making him pay in the zone with 7 hits and a 50% hard hit rate against. While he's allowed just 1 run in that sample, his 7.06 expected ERA is a far more accurate representation of how he's actually thrown. When he's out of the zone, he's not close and hitters are not chasing. When he's in the zone, it's getting hit hard. Part of me also wonders if there's a velocity aspect playing a role in this. Rojas's fastball and slider, his 2 primary pitches, are both up about 1.5 miles an hour from where they were at this time last season. An uptick like that can lead to some spotty command while you get a feel for that added velocity. But at the same time, that also doesn't explain the issues we saw at AAA last year. Kendry Rojas has the size and the stuff to be an effective pitcher at the major league level, but a 24% walk rate is simply unplayable. Even if that number were to get cut directly in half and set at 12%, that's still very much on the high side. It is certainly possible to have success with a walk rate that high, but that would require everything else to play significantly up, and that's a skill set that much more commonly aligns with a reliever working in shorter outings rather than a starter who's turning the lineup over multiple times. I think the rest of 2026 will be very pivotal for Rojas and his future role because the upside is absolutely there, but there is arguably, I would say, an equal amount of downside if he does not get things figured out. But folks, in case you were unaware, baseball season is here, and you can trade every single game on Kalshi. The Twins are trading at 49% probability to beat the Marlins tonight, meaning a $100 trade pays out $196 if they win. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there is no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position for a limited time. Download the Kalshi app and use code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi, trade on anything. But speaking of tonight's matchup, let's take a look at it. Game 2 between the Twins and the Marlins. Simeon Woods Richardson will throw for Minnesota, and opposite SWR will be Woodbury, Minnesota native and former Minnesota Golden Gopher, Max Meyer. Meyer is having a really nice year with the Marlins, despite having an unconventional pitch mix. He leads with his slider and sweeper, and they're good pitches, don't get me wrong, but you usually don't see pitchers lead with 2 breaking balls. He's also got a 4-seam, a sinker, and a changeup. He sits about 95 with the heater. But like I said, a little bit of unconventional usage for Max Meyer. Looking at his season numbers, he's rocking a 2.79 ERA over 42 innings with 45 strikeouts to 15 walks. His expected ERA is much higher, right around 4. I believe 4.03 is the exact number. So he has outperformed the expected stats a little bit. His stuff plays plenty well. His chase, whiff, and strikeout rates are all in the 73rd percentile or higher among all major league pitchers. But he has been prone to some hard contact. So there definitely is going to be some mistake pitches here and there. And for as sharp as he's been, the Marlins are rarely letting him go longer than 5 innings. I think he has 2 starts with more than 5 innings pitched. So if the Twins can get his pitch count up early, that would be a big help for them. But on the other side, the story for me will continue to remain the same with Simeon Woods Richardson. I have been extremely vocal about my feelings about him. I don't think he deserves to be in the starting rotation. He has 1 start this year with more than 5 innings pitched, and that came on April 5th. So a little under a month and a half ago now at this point. 6 straight starts with 3 or more earned runs allowed. And I hate to say it, but I won't be picking the Twins to win with him starting until I see it happen. He's great for 2 innings, but after that, things fall apart. I'm betting on that happening again tonight. I'm going to say the Marlins win by a score of 8-5 and even the series with a grudge match then coming up tomorrow. And then to wrap up the episode, there's a prospect we have not talked about much on this channel, and I want to give him some love. He is not in my top 30 list, but he's a name that I think a lot of Twins fans will recognize. The Twins' first-round pick back in 2020, first baseman Aaron Sabato, is finally starting to put things together. Albeit, it's just 82 plate appearances. That is nothing in the grand scheme, but he's hitting .284 with an OPS north of 1,000 and a staggering 13 extra base hits at AAA St. Paul. We've always known the power was in there for Sabato. That's why he was a first-round pick. But the consistency aspect has been the problem. If that consistency starts to show up, he could be a legitimate force at the plate. His batted ball data backs up his numbers too. A 91.4 mile per hour average exit velocity and a 45% hard hit rate are both very strong marks. Those would both comfortably be above league average at the major league level. For what it's worth though, his bat to ball skills, which were already not great, have seemingly taken a pretty sharp decline from where they were last season. His overall contact rate is down to 64% after being right up around 70 last season, and his swinging strike rate is up to, frankly, an alarming 19.8%. He's never been a guy who's a true hit for contact type of hitter, but those rates for anyone are far above what you would like to see. 82 plate appearances, like I said, is nothing in the grand scheme of things. So all of this, the good and the bad, should be taken with a grain of salt. But we could be seeing the emergence of a guy who has always had upside somewhere in there. First base is also a position on this Twins team that is very much not set in stone for the long term. Aaron Sabato, should this start continue, has a case to push for that spot. And obviously that's jumping ahead quite a bit. This is a guy who has not even made his MLB debut yet, but there's a lot of potential here. And as they say, better late than never. But that is going to do it for this episode of Twins Latest. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed it, please do me a humongous favor and subscribe to the channel if you are not already for daily Twins content. Drop a question for me in the comments to be featured in the next mailbag segment. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please be sure to leave a 5-star review. But until next time, I'm Sam Calder, and I'm out.